Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, Francis.
Welcome to the Namaste experience. This is a little bit loud. Let me turn this down. It is Wednesday morning, a good morning, a good moment to relax into the one, to relax into the experience of one. That's what we're called to do every moment, isn't it? To know that we are one. How simple that is when you bring it down to that single element, to realize that we are one, rather than imagine that we are split, that we are separate, that we are in competition, that there's a zillion different people and things going on, confusing the heck out of all of us every moment. Does that sound familiar?
Yes.
Gary's like, no, that doesn't confuse me. I'm fine with that. To realize, to have the experience that we are one. That's what we talk about here every day. Not theoretical, not mental, not intellectual, but the experience. To fall back into the arms of grace and to be taken by the divine. There's a nice ring to that, don't you think? To be taken by God, to be taken by oneness. To surrender so deeply that, okay, I'm yours. I give up. You know, that's really what it takes, just to give up. Stop trying to do this on your own. Stop trying to prove the unprovable, separation, and just allow oneness, unity to take you. That's what we're here for. In fact, I was just in the other room right before session because I wanted to look up a quote from the Gospel of John where Jesus says, "My prayer is not just for those who believe, but that all may be one, just as I am one in you." This is Jesus praying. Let them know that they are one, just as I am one within you, just as the Christ is one within the Creator, within all that is, so are we one within all that is. Doesn't that make perfect? Even that makes sense intellectually, to be one with all that is. Now, we can hear those words, and they may even make sense to us on some level intellectually, but to experience them, it's like the difference between looking at a map of Paris and going to Paris. You can look at a map, or you can look at pictures of the Eiffel Tower, the Arc de Triomphe, and all these beautiful places in Paris, and you can get excited about it. Wow, that's beautiful. Look at that amazing architectural feat. I don't know when that was done, 150 years ago, something like that. Amazing. But you'll never have the same experience looking at a picture of the Eiffel Tower that you do standing below it, or that you do if you go up to the top and look around at Paris and the beautiful city. That's the difference between an intellectual understanding and appreciation, an actual experience. And the same is true for oneness, that they may realize that they are one, just as I am one in you. We can hear those words and say, that sounds reasonable. I like the sound of that. And then just go back into our split lives and beliefs and experience. Or we can say, that's the only thing I want. That's the only thing that's important to me, is to experience this. And that was Jesus's prayer. Let them experience this. Let them know this. He didn't say that they may believe that they are one. No, he said that they may know, that they may have a deep revelation within them of oneness itself. How many of you want that? Raise your hand. Okay. Now let me ask you the most challenging question. For how many of you, that's the only thing you want? Raise your hand. Ah, see now. It's a little tricky. What do you mean the only thing? Do you mean I can't want this or I can't want that? But don't you see that all is contained within all? That when you want that which is all encompassing, everything is received within that. That's the beautiful thing about this. I'm going to ask once again, how many, raise your hand, if this experience of oneness is the only thing you want, knowing that everything else will come to you that you need. Maybe not the way that you think in your mind. It may not be the car that you've always dreamt of or the big, in fact, usually what happens is those things begin to just kind of fall away. And then you end up in a place like Namaste. Ooh, that even rhymes. They all fall away. You end up at Namaste. Living in a little tiny house with hardly any possessions. You have to sell everything back home. How many of you had to do that to get here? Yeah. And I've been talking to some of the new people like, oh my gosh, I've got so much stuff at home. How am I going to go through it all? You'll do it just like we all did it. Just give it away. You don't need it. Amrit, I remember when you were doing it, you just went back and gave it all away. You had storage, if I remember, a big storage thing in Wisconsin, and didn't you have another one somewhere else? Yeah. You know what an industry storage lockers are? How many of us had storage lockers when we were kids? No, we called it a garage. We didn't have storage lockers. There wasn't a multi-billion-dollar industry for people to put their stuff that they didn't want anymore, just in case they may want it later. No, give it all away. And come with holy empty hands. That's the key. You don't need anything but the revelation of the grace of God. Father, let them know that they are one just as I am one within you. That's the only thing to desire, the only thing to seek, the only thing that will ever fulfill that ancient longing and desire within you. It's so ancient, you can't even remember where it came from because it's always been there from the inception of the idea of self with a small s. Once again, the inception of the idea of the small self, that longing, that urge that tells us there's more. Somehow there is everything, and everything is within me. That's why I wanted to start off with that quote, because sometimes we talk about non-dual spirituality. We think, well, what is that? We could just as easily say oneness or unified consciousness, but non-dual. Well, yesterday I was at lunch and there were two statements that came into my mind. One of them gives a pretty close definition of what duality is, or two. And the other is a pretty close, about as close as we can get, definition of non-duality. Now, once again, these are words, they're symbols of symbols, therefore they're twice removed from the truth. The words are never going to get you there, but sometimes they can spark something inside you. And if you follow the spark, if you follow that light, the spark itself will take you. So the words can have a limited purpose, but they're not going to get you there. But let me just read these two things to you, because once again, this is about as close as I could come in describing the difference. So this is duality. Something is somewhere, but always amiss. Something is somewhere, but always amiss. Just feel into that for a moment. Okay, so something is isolated from everything, because here it is. This is something, and it's somewhere. I don't know where. I'm seeking something that's somewhere. I can't seem to find it because it's always missing. It's always amiss. Doesn't that feel like it describes the dilemma of the ego? It's that carrot on the stick. You know, it's like we're always trying to get that carrot, but it never gets any closer than about right here. We can never get to it. It's always, the experience is always a miss. What is non-duality? Everything is everywhere and never a miss. It is never missing. Everything is everywhere, every moment, every instant. Now that experience, to feel that, it begins as we open our hearts. So we're so blessed that our dear, dear friend, Reverend David MacArthur is back. And he's sitting right there in the back, and we'll introduce him a little bit later. He's gonna be doing the session tomorrow, by the way, so you're gonna get to hear from him. Well, David, one of the things that he loves to talk about is heart math. How many of you have heard of heart math and know what a heart? Well, he is a heart math aficionado. He'll tell you all about heart math. In fact, I'll tell you one real quick story about my experience with heart math. So the guru of heart math is Doc. I don't even know his full name. I'm sure, what is it? Doc Childress, thank you. So I've just always known, oh, you got to meet Doc. You got to go, you got to go to the heart math place and meet Doc. He's like this mystic. And I thought, okay, well, one day I got an email saying Doc wants to meet you. Really? And I thought they said, well, you're going to come, you can stay the night here, and you're going to go into the woods with Doc. All right. Thought, okay, well, apparently he brings groups of people out into the woods and I'm invited to come. And I met, they said, no, just you and Doc. Really? Of course, that little special thing inside me flared up. Really? Just the two? Oh, wow. I'm kind of a big deal. And so I get there, I meet Doc, and he is a cool guy, man. I mean, if you just met him, you would think he's just a good old boy. Where's he from? Georgia or something like that?
South Carolina.
South Carolina. You think he's just a good old boy from South Carolina. He's just relaxed and laid back. And we're going to go up into the woods and we're going to start a campfire. We're going to talk. Wow. Okay, this is this guy I've been hearing so much about. He was the guy that started heart math, but he's always in the back. He doesn't go out and do talks. Hardly anyone even knows, but he's the inspiration. And you have other people who are out front doing the talking, but I'm going to get to go in the woods with them. Very cool. So we drive this little ATV. I'm just holding on to the back of him. We're driving through the forest and we get to this little area where it's all set up and there's a cooler and there's beer in the cooler and the fire's already going and he takes out a cigarette and he's smoking a cigarette. I'm thinking, this is pretty weird. I never expected any of this. And so we're talking and he's asking a bit about my experience in my life. And I began to tell him about, the peace prayers and being the peace troubadour and traveling to war zones to do peace concerts and this kind of thing. And of course, there's a little part of me that is tooting my own horn, I say to my own chagrin. And at one point, this was my favorite part. He just looks at me and says, "You're one crazy son of a bitch." Does that sound like something he would say, David? Oh, wow. You're right. I am a crazy son of a bitch. And this is a holy instant right now. I love it. I have no idea what got me on that track. It just came to mind. We are one, and it's the opening of the heart. That's what heart math, the intelligence of the heart, as opposed to the intelligence that we think is more intelligent, that is not. That's what David's going to be talking about, I'm sure, all month in one way or another, because we know now that the heart is far more intelligent, but on a whole different scale. It's the heart that understands what you just heard. Let me read it one more time. Duality, rather. Something is somewhere, but always amiss. Non-duality. Everything is everywhere and never amiss. Even when I say those words, I can feel something in my heart beginning to open. Yes. And there that feeling of yes, I get it. That's the threshold of the experience that we're describing. And nothing means anything but that, to dive into that experience. You could have A Course in Miracles, you could have the Unity teachings, you could have whatever you could read them for years. You could do the lesson year after year after year and never have the experience if that's not what you really want. Or you could read the introduction of, say, A Course in Miracles. Nothing real can be threatened. Nothing unreal exists. Herein lies the peace of God. Bing. Enlightenment, wholeness, one. That's all you need. Any source of truth is like a hologram. You can break it apart as many times as you want, and the whole of it will be in every part. The whole Course in Miracles is in that one line. Nothing real can be threatened, nothing unreal exists. Herein lies a peace of God. You get that, you're home. I'm looking at the daily lesson of the day. My deepest desires are divinely inspired. My deepest desires are divinely inspired. Just feel that. That's enough to show you, as this says, everything is everywhere and never amiss. My deepest desire is for everything, and it's always present. It's always right here within me. Or from A Course in Miracles today, there is another way of looking at the world. There is another way of looking at everything, because everything is right here, right now, in this moment. So don't try and understand this. Don't try and figure it out. Let it figure you out. Just surrender, just fall back and say, take me, take me. And the rest will happen on its own. That being said, I know someone who has probably been doing this her whole life. She's been falling back into the arms of grace and say, take me, Lord, take me. And that's Vicky Poppy, and Teddy as well. So good morning.
Good morning, Father James Francis. Good morning, everybody.
He's got to change his name.
Yeah. Are you
my
father
brother.
now? Are you brother?
Yeah, I have to change it here in my little thing from brother. No one has to call me father, by the way.
Did you get a caller yet? Do you have a caller?
Oh, yeah.
Reverend.
Caller, sure.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I want to see the caller one.
Change it to father. There we go.
There we go. I'll ring the bells of St. Mary. Just put that collar on. Anyway, I love the definition. Everything, everywhere, amiss, not amiss. So, and the truth is, it's the heart that knows. The heart doesn't think. The heart doesn't evaluate. The heart doesn't do any of that. The heart knows, and it moves with knowing. It's that simple. We just know. What we have been missing is how we're always in the way. And what strikes me is really it's the art of staying out of the way. Because if everything, and it is already everywhere and we're to be taken, the only thing that interrupts it is our not wanting it. It's protecting against it by the thoughts that we hold, by the thinking, the ideas, the I need, I desire, I want, I expect, I'm sad, I'm blue, I'm this, I'm that. Oh, those are like defenses against a present moment of everything holding us and taking us. It really is that simple. We've got to just stay out of the way. And the biggest way we get in the way is all of these thoughts. All of them. I don't know what Doc said to you in the woods. I'd like to hear that in the next installment.
That was it. He just pretty much told me I'm a crazy son of a bitch. And that was it.
Well, because if you live being taken, it looks crazy to eyes that are protecting against everything. Because it doesn't make linear sense to allow everything to be welcomed in. I mean everything. Because if you're not insisting on defining it, why wouldn't you welcome everything and just say, oh, thank you, God, I'm so glad you can handle all this. So it's between wonder, welcome, and gratitude. Wonder, welcome, and gratitude seem to keep seem to keep us from interfering with the everything that wants to come in. And it does want to come in, but it's nothing we can read about. We can read about it and get motivated. That's probably the highest use of all the written material. Oh, I do want that. I'm going to try it. And then we try it for a moment, a holy instant here, a holy instant there. But the deal is just do it. Just, okay, here I am. I'm just going to welcome everything. And then thank you for handling it all. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you that I see that safety is everywhere, that I'm being held through everything, that what my eyes see hasn't been quite what's happening, so I don't have to worry about it. I just have to listen and feel, just feel. Feel our heart. Our heart knows, and it brings with it the direction. Love brings its own direction, and the heart only knows love. It doesn't recognize anything else.
Mhm.
So, the art of staying out of the way, not interfering with the everything that is always, always everything given to us, so that all we have to be doing is giving it away. When we're busy giving it away, we're much too busy to try to get anything anywhere else. So,
Yeah. It's funny how many times you said the word everything. And I was just thinking, it just gets to the point where it's the only thing left to say. Everything is everywhere. And it's just everything. And the more I look, everything is just present and everything you guess that's the space that you enter into where it's an avalanche of everything. I don't know what else to say because there's nothing left to say. We sit here all every day and we're describing this, but that's the closest we can come to the avalanche of everything. Just get out of the way and let everything take you. I love it. Teddy, give us everything.
Well, I gotta laugh because you're talking about what's his name, Doc?
yeah.
Yeah.
Since the old man, I haven't had to meet anybody. The master teacher, that was it. I don't look for anybody. And there's this big discussion about the academy. And you guys are doing what eventually it happens. People want to gather, and more people will gather, and everybody will give everything away, and they'll begin to have experiences, and you'll be non-necessary because everybody else will be conveying the experience,
Amen.
and that's pretty it. That's it. There's nothing. There's nothing else. And I think about it. The expression before enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. After enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. You're just doing it with a different mindset, and you guys call heart, with a different heart than you were doing before. But the same thing goes on. It's just when you're doing it, you're doing everything rather than you're doing something. Um, so it's just really interesting. Um, and it's true. You know, people gather because they like to be with like-minded people, and that's what you guys are doing. That's really what we're doing. I don't know. There's not much else to say, but it's really true. Since the master teacher, I haven't had to meet anybody because I don't even know what to say about him. Talk about crazy,
Crazy son of a bitch.
What was that? He was a crazy son of a bitch.
Oh, yeah.
I've never heard a more apt description.
Exactly. So that's it.
It's interesting because you just triggered a memory that I just had last night in a dream. I'm just now remembering a dream. You know how you have a dream and you kind of forget it, but then someone will say something, then it'll come back. Well, I'm just dreaming, right? I had a dream last night where I was back in Wisconsin. So the master teacher, or Chuck Anderson, he was our teacher, right? And in Wisconsin, it was an amazing community. And so every once in a while, I'll dream that I'm back there. And so last night I was dreaming that I was back there. And the old man is kind of walking in the room as he would do. And he stops and he looks at me and he gives me one of these.
Yeah.
And I think it's what you just said. It's like, okay, because the feeling that I get is after that experience where there were hundreds. I mean, imagine this, what we're doing here times 20. I mean, there were like 300 or 400 people
all around the world, 4 places.
Yeah. And every day coming together and just in the experience. And then it dissolved. And there have been other manifestations. Josh started a community in Brazil, and I'm not sure what else there is, but here we are right now. And it's the exact same thing if we choose it in an uncompromising way. If we say, yes, this is everything. This is the moment of the awakening. I'm not going to wander away. I'm not going to think that there's something else somewhere else, something better over there. I'm going to stay here in this field of transformation. That's what happened there. And maybe after all this time, this is a nucleus around which that can form. Does that make sense to you guys?
Oh, definitely.
Absolutely.
Definitely. I mean, you're doing it. And you understand, you got the experience. That's it. And it's conveyable. But it has, like you're saying, it has to be the only thing you want. You give up the world and come with wholly empty hands. That's why in Wisconsin, part of the criteria for being there was give up the world, give everything away, and come here empty handed. And that was it. There was nothing left. Now, when you have somebody who could, in a sense, convey the experience or talk directly about it, that's even better. And you're doing it, and people will have the experience. You got some guys there. That's it. There's nothing left.
Yeah, that's it. Nothing
It's
left.
the end of the world and the beginning of a new one.
As there's a great REM song. It's the end of the world as
I
we know
know.
it, and I feel fine. Well, thank you, Vicky and Teddy. Yes, that's all I can say is yes. This is it. This is the moment, and this community here is so vibrant and so awake, and it's sparking everywhere. And one of the ways that we see that here is of the art. This beautiful mural behind me that was painted about a little over a year ago by one of our local artists. This, in case you've never seen it before, I asked him to paint a picture of what it would be looking like from here, looking out toward the lake 100 years ago. So no cars, no power lines. This is the church looking out toward the lake, and we've got yoga, an enormous painting of Yogananda right over here. We've got St. Francis. We have so many. Now, I have something else I want to show you. Because of many of you, our Namaste angels, those of you who contributed to help us paint a mural on this building, this big, what we call the 8-plex. It's an 8 apartment building, and it's got this huge front facing us here. And we reached out. So many of you responded. We're so grateful. If any of you still want to help, we didn't quite get to our goal, but we were close. So let me show you this first. So this is a rendition of what's about to be painted on the wall. Wow. Let me put it full. Now, the only thing that's going to be changed, I think, is the figure on the bottom right is going to be a woman instead of a man, because I want to have the masculine and the feminine. And Zuri or someone else could tell us what the snake represents. Is apparently a very ancient. Marissa, if you're out there, type into the chat what the name of that snake is, because I know it's a traditional Mexican element. But this is going to be, what is it? Quetzalcoatl? Quetzalcoatl? Okay, I'm probably saying it wrong. Something like that. A big sacred snake. Kundalini. Isn't that beautiful? All these beautiful mandalas. Ah, I love it. Look at this one right here. So in a few weeks, we're going to see this starting to go up on the building. And I just want to thank all of you, but especially those who are Namaste angels who help to make that possible. If any of you still want to be a Namaste angel, all you need to do, if you send me an email, I'll get you the details at namaste dot, it's namaste.lake.chapala. namaste.lake.chapala@gmail.com. Just send me a note. Anyway, just wanted you guys to see that and to share the excitement. And it is exciting. This is an exciting moment. It's all happening. And if we realize literally it's all happening right here, right now, the experience begins to spark in your mind, and it will be wholly unlike anything you've ever known before. There will be no denying it. There won't be a question of, I wonder if this is the experience that they've been talking about. No, you won't have that, because it'll be a full-on, yes, thank you. You will know. It'll explode within you. Grace will explode within you. So thank you, Vicky, Teddy. Thank you, everyone. We are blessed indeed. It feels like there's something else that we're missing other than the prayer of protection.
Sing a song.
Hmm?
You're going to introduce David?
Well, hey, David, why don't you come up for a moment? Because I have something that I wanted to ask anyway. So I'm going to ask David MacArthur. I do have a seat right next to me. St. Francis is right here. So, what I'm thinking, I didn't plan this, but why don't we make this month that you're here as our Unity Minister in residence, the month of the heart. And we can focus in many different ways on the awakening of the heart. How does that sound? From every different, makes your heart sing.
Yeah. And to look at these beautiful hearts, and here and everywhere with us. Wow, what power, what beauty, what wisdom. Yeah, month of the
We're
heart.
so grateful to have you here, and you bring so much wisdom, but I know your focus on that heart wisdom is so profound. So why don't we, the whole month, we'll just come at it from every possible different angle. It's all about the opening and the awakening of the heart. Sound good?
Sounds wonderful.
All right. So that's going to be our February focus.
All right.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you,
It's so good to have you here. We're very blessed to have you back. We're going to ohm you in just a moment. But first, let's go ahead and we'll go to our prayer of protection here. If you'd like to stand, you're welcome to. Here we go. The light of God surrounds us. I am the light of God. The love of God enfolds us. I am the love of God. The power of God protects us. I am the power of God. The presence of God watches over us. I am the presence of God. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well indeed. Namaste, everyone.
Thank you. Namaste.
Love you
I
all.
love you
Thanks, Vicky.
all.
Thanks, Teddy. We'll see you tomorrow.
Bye for now.
Let us see.
Suryana.
Let us see you, David in, please.
Okay. Hello,
Can the
David.
audience watch that?
Thank you.
Sure. Let's go ahead and we'll welcome David with everybody on the Zoom room as well. So David, get ready to receive. Here we go. David. Wow.
Yay!
Woohoo.
Thank
That was
you.
great. Thank Thanks, Daphne.
Thank you, James.
Love to you and Paul. Bye.